meeting for April 26, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Kurtzwell. Move on to the roll call this evening. Please remember to, after stating you are present, to state your location. So we will start with Councilmember Kennedy.
Present, City of South Lyon.
Thank you. Councilmember Kibble.
I'm here. I'm at my home in South Lyon.
Thank you. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Present, City of South Lyon.
Thank you. Councilmember Walton.
Present, City of South Lyon.
Thank you. Councilmember Dill.
Present, City of South Lyon.
Thank you. I noticed Councilmember Richards is not in here yet. I did just speak to him about a half an hour ago, so I would expect him to find his way here eventually. And I am also present in the City of South Lyon at City Hall. With that, we'll move on to approval of the City Council minutes from April 8th, 2021. Councilmember Dill, go ahead.
I don't know if it matters, but I think that meeting started at 6 p.m.
Oh.
And then I can just move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Good catch. Councilmember Kill.
I will second them, but I have a correction as well, please. On page 3, it stated, Councilman Kibble stated he was looking at the numbers, and if we pay $500,000 up front, we'll have $53,000 plus. The word that was used was when, and it should have been where. We will be more liquid, and we would save $17,434 in interest, rather than the word money. The actual figure should be in there that I said. That's all I had. Thank you.
We have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the minutes. City Council minutes, April 12th, 2021. Councilmember Kennedy.
I'll move the minutes from the council meeting on April 12th, 2021.
I'll support.
We have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
I believe you conducted that meeting, right? So, oh, I'm sorry, never mind. My apologies, nothing. I have nothing for that.
Okay. We have a motion in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the approval of tonight's agenda. Councilmember Kivel, sorry, excuse me.
I'll move the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion in a second on the approval of the agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. At this time, we are going to open the floor for public comment. Please remember to state your name and address. Please remember that we do have a 2-minute time limit. And also you can raise your hand virtually or in real life, and our city clerk, Lisa Deaton, is going to do her best to find you.
We do have someone raising their hand.
Okay.
So I'll allow him to speak now. It's Ryan Lear.
Thank you.
Are you there, Ryan?
I'm not picking up any audio.
I'm not either, but he is allowed to talk. I'm not sure why.
I'm on, I think now. Carl
Yep,
here.
yep. Councilmember Richards, just a moment. We'll get you time stamped in. We're in public comment. Mr. Lair, is your audio for your speaker up and mic? I'm just getting a clicking sound.
I
I
think
think
that's
that's Carl, actually.
Carl. We have another person's hand raised, if you want.
Okay, I'll tell you what, City Clerk Deaton, let's allow Mr. Lair a moment to see if he can figure out his technical difficulties, and let's go to the other individual that would like to speak, and we can double back.
Okay, this person's name is Jeff.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Heinen. My address is 350 South Lafayette, South Lyon, Michigan. I'm here tonight regarding the proposed zoning ordinance amendments that you'll be considering tonight. I just want to let you know I completely support the extension of the central business district into what is currently the B3 zoning. This allows for more flexibility for any development or redevelopment within the downtown. Some of you may be aware that I recently had an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which ultimately was denied. During that process, we spent a significant amount of time to review the city's ordinance, zoning ordinance, and other communities' zoning ordinances. And there are a couple items that I'm requesting the city council take time to consider. The first is that loading is only allowed in the rear of a building, with the exception that side loading can be on the side yard if there's a minimum of 50 feet. I would request that council review this and potentially add language that would allow loading in front yards within the central business district. The CBD typically consists of smaller lots, and rear loading just isn't always feasible. It is an understandable requirement for big box stores, but doesn't always make sense for smaller lots in downtowns. The second item that I'm asking the city council to consider is allowing flag lots. Right now, the city requires a 1-to-4 ratio, but the state law says the municipality or county having the authority to review the proposed divisions may allow a greater depth of width ratio than otherwise required by its subdivision. We also found that during our research that many other community neighbors allow a greater depth of width ratio, some of which include Salem Township, Lyon Township, Milford Township, Northfield Township, and Brighton Township, just to name a few. Or alternatively, allow a parcel to be accessed by a legal ingress, egress, easement. Either of these would allow for more creative developments within the downtown. I know the city staff and consultants have spent a significant amount of time on the zoning ordinance, but it's been 26 years since it's been updated, and I'm requesting city council take time to review these items before taking action tonight. For these reasons, I'm requesting the city council table the ordinance adoption tonight. As you know, I'm passionate about supporting the city, and we all want our entire community and for the downtown to thrive. If the zoning ordinance allowed for more options, it would promote a more creative and unique projects within the downtown. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Heinen. City Clerk Deaton, could I ask you to see if you were to mute Councilmember Richards, if that would take away the clicking?
He would have to mute himself, because if I mute him, I don't believe I can unmute him.
Okay, understood.
Sorry.
It seems to be slowly going away.
Lisa, I think you can unmute him if you mute him. You should be able to.
Well, I will mute him.
That's it.
Yeah, I just have to be able to unmute him.
Right. We'll give this a minute. Let's go ahead and ask Mr. Lair if he'd like to try his public comment again. And then City Attorney Hamame, could you brainstorm or consider if that's going to be feasible for us to maintain this, or how we would do this with a council member being muted?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can, Mr. Lair. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, the webcam was acting. Okay, I'll be as quick as possible. I I wanted to thank Chief Sobek and Glenn Kibble and Phil Weipert for their amazing hard work at the creek cleanup the last Sunday. It was absolutely amazing. And everybody did such a hard work that we filled up that entire 20-foot wide dumpster. It was absolutely amazing, everything that we put in there and everybody's hard work. But on my way home, some people may not have been aware that I was in the middle of a crosswalk between the Italian restaurant and the Presbyterian church, and a gentleman hit me on my scooter head on. And I had bruised ribs and shoulder and lower back pain. The insurance company is replacing the scooter at no charge, so you guys will be seeing me in a brand new $1,700 new scooter coming on Wednesday or Thursday. But the reason I'm mentioning is I got a beautiful card in the mail from Chief Vogel and the South Lyon Fire Department, thanking me for wishing me well and on my injury. And I wanted to thank them. I thought it was the sweetest, most kindest thing I've ever experienced in the city. And it's a hats off to our wonderful, perfect responders that work every day to bring kindness and a little bit of just generosity to our city. So that's all I have tonight. And thank you again. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Laird. City Clerk Dean, did we have anyone else that was ready for public comment?
We do not.
Okay. City Attorney Hamame, could I discuss our issue with Councilmember Richards briefly with you? Does anyone have a problem with that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Mayor, I would suggest we ask Councilmember Richards to hang up and rejoin the meeting. It may very well be just a bad connection.
Okay. Yeah.
If that doesn't fix the problem, there is a way that Councilman Richards can mute and unmute himself. And that's by hitting certain digits on his keypad. If he has that capability, then it would be better than us muting him where he couldn't unmute at that point.
Understood. Understood. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Councilmember Richards, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I could hear it all through Ryan's
Yeah.
talk.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to please hang up your phone call and try and reconnect to the meeting. We're getting a very loud clapping, like almost feedback from your cell phone.
How do you know? Oh, I'll do it. Well, how do you know it's mine?
Well, I guess we're assuming that it went away when we muted you.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll hang it up. Here we go.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Richards.
Whew.
Nate, if you wouldn't mind waiting to give Councilmember Richards the moment to get back, I would appreciate that. And then we will move on. We'll close the floor for public comment, and we will move on to the discussion of downtown.
Mayor, may I ask City Clerk Deaton a question?
Certainly.
I know it's *6 is to unmute. Do you know what mute it is? Is it also *6?
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
I appreciate everyone's effort on this.
I'm pretty sure we put it in our instructions. I could try to find them too.
Nate, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started. I know Councilmember Richards had some things he wanted to speak to Chief Vogel about. And so, Chief, I might flip you guys around if he ends up having a delay, but I'm going to go ahead and let Nate go ahead and continue.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so first of all, I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm going to be out of the office May 5th through the 10th, and then again, May 13th through the 17th. I'm getting married, and then I'm going to be having a reception in South Dakota with my family after our wedding. So just wanted council to be aware of that. I'll be in the office on Tuesday, May 11th and Wednesday, May 12th. So just a quick housekeeping item, I guess. So the planter pots that we're going to be putting at the Veterans Memorial are going to be ground pots. There's not a suitable location to put a hanging basket there. I've ordered 2 to go in there, so they should be going in when we get the hanging baskets. The farmers market is set to open this Saturday, May 1st. So anybody who wants to come down and see the market on opening day, I would encourage everyone to attend. Last week, I met with the new owners of, well, they're going to be opening a store in Kings Plaza called South Lyon Nutrition. They requested some of the Love for Lyon materials, so I gave them that. I dropped them off to them, and I just kind of welcomed them to the city. We received some additional PPE from Oakland County. We got 14 gallons of hand sanitizer and 9 cases of gloves. Most of this is going to be used for Ladies' Night Out, just to ensure that we have, that PPE on hand if people need it. Last week, I was informed that I was accepted into a 12-week MEDC small business retention training series. So basically what this is, I'm not familiar with the platform that they're going to be using, the Initiate portal, but it's a tool utilized for business retention activities. So basically what they're going to be doing is training me to help other people with the platform. So it provides data collection and other different resources so that we can better understand, what resources we might need. So I think coupled with, the work we've done with the task force in, doing those business surveys and being able to use this training portal or this platform from the MEDC, I think we could really be helping our businesses out a lot. And then the winery that I've been talking about for months is planning to submit drawings this week at some point. They've got an architect that they've been working with. They're going to be going into the 105 North Lafayette Street building. I was just in contact with them today. We're going to meet later this week to kind of go over things and see how things are going for them. So that's exciting news. They've been looking for a place in town for a while, but finally they've been able to find something that's suitable for them, that's going to work. So I'm very excited to have them come to downtown. And then 110 Detroit Street. This parcel was listed, I believe, for the first time on Zillow about 2 weeks ago. I checked it again today, and it's pending a sale at $160,000. So I'm not sure, what's going on there, but people are apparently interested in the property and are purchasing it. So yeah, that's my report for the week, I guess.
All right. Well, first off, let me start with the congratulations to you, Mr. Mack. That's fantastic. Congratulations on the wedding, future wedding. I'm sure we've got some questions for you. Who's up first here for Nate this evening? Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
Nate, just regarding the winery there, do they have a liquor license already? Are they going to be applying for one, or do you know?
They will be applying for one. It'll be a small winemaker license.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember Kibble.
The MEDC situation, is that is there going to be training for trying to show some of the businesses that might be struggling some ways to help them perform or to stay in the game or any of that kind of stuff?
So their idea is, what they provided in their description was to train the trainer. So I will be that person that helps the businesses.
Okay.
But they're going to show me how to use it, and then I can show other people how to use it.
But that is the vehicle that they're going to show you is to assist them. Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilmember Dillon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nate, I was just wondering, it looked like the creamery was getting closer. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not heard on the creamer. I know that they have been doing work in there, but I haven't. I can reach out to them and see how things are going though.
Okay, just wondered. Thank you.
All right, if no one else has anything for Nate, thank you, Nate. Great update, as always. We'll move on to the fire chief report and Chief Vogel.
Good evening. 2 quick things. The rescue reefer project is wrapping up. I should probably be heading to Grayling soon to do a final review. Me and Chief Weir will be heading to Charlotte, Michigan on Wednesday to preview some chassis that they make for the ladder truck. And we heard updates that the demo truck is still planning on be here in May, probably a little bit later towards Memorial Day. And that's all I have.
That's great, Chief. That'll be a good time of the year to have that big rig around.
Yeah.
Councilmember Richards, you had stated that you had something for Chief Vogel this evening.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you
Yeah.
sound far better, Councilmember Richards. I really appreciate your effort on that.
Okay, I'm helpful. I'm glad it worked out. Chief Vogel, you can hear me, I hope.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you ever so much for your department for coming to the cleanup operation and sending some of your staff along with it. It was just a highlight, and everybody just raved about the fire truck showing up and the volunteer firemen. It was wonderful, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you. We
That was
enjoyed
a
it.
wonderful. And the next little item I wanted to mention was, since I live right across from the north end of the tube mill, I see the fire trucks go by sometimes twice a day, but usually 2 a week for sure. And out of the total year-to-date total of 288, I just wondered how many calls have gone into the tube mill or in conjunction with the parking lot, okay, at that location. Can you have an answer on that one?
So I assume you're asking how many times we've done an emergency at the seamless tube?
Yeah, a call for a fire department assistance, yeah, of some sort.
Since January 1st, we've gone once in February. In 2020, we went 4 times.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Mayor, am I getting through?
Yep, yep,
Oh,
yep.
okay.
Go ahead and just
So-
say it one more time. Thanks.
Yep, one time we've gone to the tube mill since January 1st. In
Oh,
2020,
okay.
we went 4 times.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wondered, so I live right across the street from the facilities, and I see the trucks going up and down the street, and I know that some of them aren't always tube mill related. I understand there's a whole subdivision in the south end of town to consider. But I just wondered about it, that's all. And I thank you very much for your use of our streets and everything. That's it.
All right, Councilmember Richards, while I have you really quick, you missed our roll call check-in earlier. You are present, obviously, now that we can hear you. I need you to state your location, though, for the record.
I'm at my home in South Lyon.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Kibble, go ahead.
Chief, I was wondering, you guys have really been doing an awful lot of runs recently, and I was curious whether or not the rig that's up in Grayling would have been doing a lot of these services rather than engines going out.
Probably 80%, yes.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah,
Okay.
we really can't wait for this truck to get back. We've got a lot of new equipment that was donated by FEMA that will go on that truck. We're pretty excited. Honestly, the dealer's been great. He's keeping me updated. He will tell you that COVID really stalled all fire truck sales. And it's not the manufacturer of the vehicle itself, it's the parts. So currently the doors, the roll-up doors is what stalled this vehicle. It's completely done, installed, wired, striped, except for the doors. And he thinks that'll be this week, and then I'll go up for a final walkthrough to sign off, and then it'll get delivered.
Well, that's good. As much as I enjoy hearing that big horn going through town,
Yeah,
it'll be
well,
nice
and
to
it's
see you.
honestly, you still might. What's been interesting in the last, since I'll say 6 months, is you not only get one call, you get 2 or 3 at a time.
Mhm.
And we've had vehicles driving all over. I know that when Ryan spoke of getting hit in the crosswalk last week, I know there was 2 calls at once during that incident. It's just been very common.
Mhm.
So yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, I see you going every which way
Yeah,
through
it's
town.
just
I mean,
really, like today, I think we had 3 calls within an hour.
Hmm.
So,
well, thank you.
yeah.
Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
Chief, I just want to commend you and the department on the duckling rescue from the storm drain, bud.
Well, it's interesting you said that. I reached out to by email to the Brighton High School Science Olympiads. I would love to have somebody invent a way that we can cover storm drains. It happens just about every year in South Lyon, and it's a national issue where mother duck can walk over the storm drain and not realizing that her babies are falling in. And I hate to think how many times people don't hear them. And, we always encourage not to have citizens climbing in those dangerous storm drains. So that's why we're happy they call us.
Good job.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up, have you guys ever used, how you see seniors when they're trying to reach that top shelf in the kitchen, the little claw kind of a thing?
Yeah,
You
the
guys
problem
use
is the
something like
baby
that?
ducks. The problem is the baby ducks don't want to be picked up. So we find that it's best to wear some gloves so we don't leave scent on the ducks, and just go in the drain and grab them with 2 hands and scoop them up and give them to mom as fast as you can, because mom's really upset usually when she knows they're in there. So
Good deal.
Anyone
we
else have
tried
anything?
it all, nets, but just actually the gloved hand is the best.
Anyone else have anything for Chief Vogel tonight? All right, thanks a lot, Chief.
Good night.
We'll move on to the police chief report and Chief Sobek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things real quick. First of all, we had the DEA take back the unused prescriptions this past Saturday from 10 to 2, and that was a huge success. Probably one of the biggest takebacks that we've ever had. So fortunately, we were able to pass off all of our yearly drop-offs and hand them over to the DEA on Saturday afternoon. So that was a really successful event that we had. And in light of everything that we've been seeing lately in the news, as far as the anti-police sentiment and the dialogue and stuff, I'm really proud of our officers, the way that we're handling it. The mission of the South Lyon Police Department is to maintain excellence in law enforcement while strengthening the partnership with our community. And if nothing else, that's just going to force us to just continue doing what we're doing. We take our responsibilities very seriously, and it's not going to change for us. So we as the department, we thank the council and we thank our community for the support that we've been given over the last couple of years, and especially just recently. So thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Chief Sobek, and kudos to you and your team across the board for taking steps to being active in this community and building on relationships since taking that position. I mean, I think we've all seen, that the community is building its relationship with our police here in this community, which is more than you can say for other places, unfortunately, across the country. So kudos to you and your team for that. I know there's been a lot of effort in that. So does anyone else have anything for Chief this evening? Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to let Chris know that as I was out this weekend, and of course, the national discussion clearly is about the status of policing in America, is that I did not hear one negative word about the South Lyon Police Department, or actually the Oakland County Sheriff's Department either. I think that for our particular area, our region, there is a culture out there that is sort of inbred, I think, with the law enforcement officers, that there is respect for all individuals. The problems that are occurring throughout the country don't seem to be problems associated in our areas, because I think we have a different culture of respect and tolerance. So tremendous kudos. Not one person said anything negative about the police department, and that was the topic on everybody's mind. So I think that's a tremendous credit to you and to the staff that serves with you. And what a difference, a couple of years makes in that police department, having you as a leader for us. So thank you, Chris.
Thanks. I'll pass that along to him.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
I think that respect is mutual. You guys show respect to the people that you're addressing, and it gives them the opportunity to be respectful back. Even if you're getting a ticket, if you're being treated reasonably, people don't get too wound up. So I've always been very proud of the way you guys have done what you've done. The school drive-bys and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys have been so active in some of the more passive things that really mean a great deal, They don't produce a lot of stuff because people are aware that that's going to be taking place. So I'm sure that anybody that might be a mischief maker is going to avoid those opportunities. But I think that just the way that you guys have addressed your presence in this community has always been to the benefit of this community. So I'm certain that you're going to continue that same type of practice because it's been very successful.
Absolutely.
Anyone else have anything for Chief Sovic tonight? All right, thanks, Chief. Have a great night. We'll move on to unfinished business number 1, the 2021-2022 budget.
All of you have previously received a copy of the 2021-22 budget. We've included all the updated sheets based upon the changes or corrections that were made since our budget workshop. Tonight's meeting, it's affording you an opportunity to go over some of the changes and have any questions. At our meeting on May 24th, the 2021-22 budget will be up for adoption. We've highlighted the changes for all of you. Patricia and I are here tonight to answer any questions that you may have regarding any of the changes that we have made, or bring up any other discussion item you may have on the 2021-22 budget.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
I had talked to Patricia earlier today, and I just thought, I didn't know how many people might have picked up on it, but I thought it was interesting on the Department of Public Works, the ratio between what the wages were and the fringe benefits were escalates from the 1920 audited year of 54% for their bennies to 62.99 on the 21-22. And I was hoping, Patricia, could you illustrate again what the reasons were for that escalation?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
There's a few different reasons. One, of course, every year we take into account an increase in benefit costs. So that was one that I forgot to mention to you on the phone call today. Number 2 is we've had a change in personnel in the DPW department, and whenever there is a change, the use of benefits as well as the expenditures associated with certain benefits, such as insurance, do change. And so there is a little bit more of a usage and a higher cost in certain areas that's reflected based on our current personnel as opposed to previous year's personnel. And then we also have budgeted for this upcoming year a deputy DPW water and sewer director. And so those additional fringe benefit costs associated with 1/3 of that position are built into that budget year, which would not be in the 1920 audited financial numbers.
If I could ask, just the crew that was in the 1920, the working staff, was it were the new people that are introduced into this new escalated cost, are they from the city moving from department to department, or they're just new to the city?
We have an individual that's new to the city, and then we had actually 2 individuals that joined the department that would be newer this year. One individual was in half of the audited financial numbers last year, one position, and then I was 6 months without, and then an entirely new position for this year, or new person in a position. Both were outside employment, was
Okay.
there previously before they came to the city.
Okay, because the 1/3 person didn't seem as though that would be enough to kick those numbers up that high. So I was just wanting to make that clear. So, okay, thank you very much.
If I could say too, with that open position that we don't have filled right now, it's just an estimate on what those costs would be. And I'm going with, of course, the higher numbers. They could potentially be lower based on the needs of that individual and the corresponding benefits, as well as with the salary cost and the taxes and fringes that go along with that.
That's a good way to work a budget, though, is think high and hope it comes out low. Thank you.
All right, if there's no questions, we'll still leave this on the agenda for the upcoming meetings. And if you have any questions or you want to contact us regarding something, please let us know. And we'll try to prepare additional information for that for the next meeting. We will have at the next, or before your next council packet, and I'll try to get it on this Friday's city council update, is information regarding cash flow considerations regarding the anticipated capital expenditure for the purchase of the fire truck. And that'll include some information regarding economics, lease savings, what, based upon the funding that we're looking at doing and based upon the comments that were brought at the prior city council meeting. So we'll have that for you on Friday.
All right, if no one else has anything on the budget, we are going to move on to new business number 1 this evening, Memorial Day Parade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, last year was canceled after some long thought. And so there's been some changes made to the Memorial Day Parade. The route's going to basically be the same. But as far as having the ceremony inside the cemetery is going to be very, very limited, very few people. Everything is there. I just actually have in my hand a copy of the insurance form that Dana has dropped off to me, so we are good to go. That was just pending or waiting on that. So the road closure forms, Lisa Deaton suggest to her to contact Oakland County to make sure it's okay to get Lake Street closed off. But it's going to be a lot limited more. They're not going to be doing as much as far as like passing out candy, passing out flyers. No candy, will be thrown next year. So I think Dana did a pretty good job putting together as far as their COVID plan for the parade. She may or may not be on the call tonight, but just go ahead. I'm just asking that you guys approve the parade route, the events, and the limited ceremony in the cemetery this year. If you have any questions.
Councilmember Dill, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, I had the same concern, just making sure that we are notifying those homeowners and finding a place for them to park in case they need to get out during that time. Just want to make sure that's part of the plan.
Yeah, normally that is usually all closed off. I think Paul and I just talked about a temporary traffic control order to keep those people parked off that street between that time. So, but we will be notifying notifying the people, putting it on our Facebook page as well. I don't know if we have to go as far as just ordering them to keep up. But in years past, we've never had any issue with people parking on Lake Street there between the Warren and Reynolds Sweet Parkway. We'll do our best to notify those folks that are along the parade route.
Yeah, I didn't mean the people parking on there. I meant the people who live there, so that they have a place to put their cars. So in case they need to get out during that time.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just notifying them.
Yeah. We will.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kennedy, and then I'm coming to you, Councilmember Kurzweil. Go ahead, Councilmember Kennedy.
I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to approve the closure of Warren Street from 2nd Street to Lake Street, Lake Street from Warren Street to Reynolds Sweet Parkway, Reynolds Sweet Parkway from Lake Street to Stryker Street, Stryker Street from Reynolds Sweet Parkway to the South Lyon Cemetery between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. on May 31st, 2021, and to approve the resolution authorizing the city clerk to make application to the Road Commission for Oakland County on behalf of the city of South Lyon for the necessary permits related to the closure of Lake Street between Warren and Reynolds Sweet Parkway on May 31st, 2021 at 9 a.m.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Walton. Councilmember Kurzweil had your hand up. Are you good?
I just had one quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, absolutely.
Chief, you mentioned that there was going to be a restricted amount of individuals allowed over at the cemetery.
Correct.
What happens if you have individuals that are over there on Memorial Day visiting a grave of a loved one? Are they going to be kicked out?
I would say no.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
I know you do, Councilmember Richards, and I think Councilmember Kurzweil got you halfway there, but go ahead. I know your question. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Chief, along with what Councilmember Kurzweil said, some people come a great distance to decorate their family's grave or their loved ones or ancestors, as it may be, and they're in cemetery with their flowers to plant and so on and so forth, long before the parade even starts, you know. And they usually, a lot of them stick around for the ceremonies and everything. I'm just saying this could pose a problem in some respects, depending how we plan to, you know, regulate the new regulations, because they probably don't know anything about it. It's something to consider. That's all I have to say on that, you know.
I appreciate that, sir. We're going to have officers at the event as well. You know, as long as we just practice the social distancing, we'll let them know what's going on. I'm not going to refuse them, you know, entrance or, you know, paying their respects to their individuals there. So not going to be an issue. We will do what we can to work with them and make sure that they're happy with what happens.
I completely agree with you, Chief, and I know you guys will do the best you can on that. And I got to imagine anyone that's there to honor their family or you know, extended family or whatever is not there to make the day about themselves by any means. So I would imagine a short conversation and reminding folks of why we're there, and it won't be an issue.
Yeah, it won't be an issue. I don't see any issues. I don't see any problems. We'll be fine.
I agree 100%. Excuse me, City Clerk Deaton, go ahead.
Dana is on as an attendee. If you don't mind her speaking, she has her hand up.
Absolutely. Does anyone have a problem with Ms. Johnston speaking?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, you should be allowed to speak, Dana.
He may still be muted.
He is muted, yeah.
She just texted me. I told her to go ahead and speak.
Okay.
See if she's on.
Did we mute her on our end by any chance? Okay, that's yeah.
Star 6.
Just send her a text to unmute herself. She said it's trying, it won't let her.
Dana, if you're able to figure that out at some point, we will get you in at our second public comment, if that's okay.
Hang up and try again.
Yeah, it says talking permitted. I'm not sure why we can't hear her.
It might be on her end on the device.
She's muted. She's muted on the screen.
I asked her to unmute.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with it though, if you're on a tablet, it can be pretty intimidating and confusing. So
Google it.
Right, yeah. So we'll if Dana's able to get herself unmuted, you know, by the time we get to count our second public comment, we will certainly make sure to get her in that, if that's all right with everybody. We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Walton. Do we have any further discussion on the Memorial Day Parade? Councilmember Walton, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to just take a quick moment and thank Dana Johnson for all of her hard work on this parade, but also her hard work with the VFW and American Legion. They worked together and they were able to receive a headstone for Laverne Huck, who was one of our founding members to our VFW here in the town. And he's been in an unmarked grave for over 30 years. So they were able to get that headstone just came in today, actually. So I imagine she'll be contacting the city to have that put in, hopefully before Memorial Day. And also I want to just take a quick second to thank Bill and Linda Irwin, who are donating all the flags for the city, for the American flags. And Bill and Linda Irwin and the Irwin Foundation, Herb Stricker and Gary Fagan, who are putting together and finishing up the black iron monument at the monument. So that'll be done also before Memorial Day. So it looks like lots of things are coming together, and a lot of that was coordinated through Dana. So we do appreciate all of her hard work and everything that she does for our vets in this city.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Walton, for those comments. So we have a motion from Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Walton. Is there any further discussion before we go into a roll call vote? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in that vote?
Dill,
I think you said Dill, yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Kibble,
Yes.
Richards,
yes,
Felchat.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes. We'll move on to new business number 2 this evening, zoning ordinance adoption.
The city staff, the planning consultants, and the planning commission and city council have been working on the development of the new zoning ordinance and map. Tonight, we're here to set the date of the public hearing to adopt the ordinance. We've attached a letter from CIB Planning and the zoning ordinance adoption schedule. The possible course of action is to approve or not approve Monday, May 10th, 2021, to hold a public hearing and new zoning ordinance and map adoption. I've included a summary of the ordinance update, which does state as far as the schedule that's taken place, as well as a tentative schedule outlining moving forward. May 10th being the first reading for the public hearing, May 24th, 2021 as the second reading, and also June 7th as the publish in the newspaper, and it would make the effective date of the new zoning ordinance June 14th, 2021. I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding this schedule that you may have.
Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
Paul, is it possible for you to provide a written memorandum addressing the issue that was brought up by Jeff Heineman? He did say that other communities have provided a more favorable opportunity for loading. And I would just like to have that done if it's possible. Additionally, this creation, this expansion of this district, is it by any way restricting the activities and uses of commercial buildings that are already there? It's my understanding that there might be some restrictions, minor restrictions. If so, I would like to know what those restrictions are.
We'd have to go through the whole ordinance to try to determine if there are any changes to that specifically for the central business district. But I will talk with the planning consultant and see how quickly we can put something together. I know Mr. Heinen did mention regarding the other communities that do in fact have that. I'm not sure what those townships or what their ordinances are exactly. But I'll gladly try to get this done as quickly as possible. We are looking at this, the first reading, to be within 2 weeks. And this was not discussed at any of the other council meetings or planning commission meetings. So it might be difficult to do a quick analysis, but we'll try to do what we can.
Well, is there an emergency why this has to be a public hearing on May 10th? Other than if it fits somebody's schedule?
Well, that's what we were moving forward with the ordinance adoption based upon it going before city council and having the joint city council and planning commission meeting. If we are going to not adopt something because another question may come in, we may not be able to move forward with the rest of the ordinance. It doesn't mean that we can't in the future or look at making certain changes to the ordinance. But we do have questions that come in every single time. But this was the process that we did put together. But if council wants to vote to halt this, then it would be to not adopt this particular schedule and to not to set the public hearing. And then we'll go through that process for the questions that Mr. Heinen have, if that is the pleasure of city council.
Okay, let me ask the question in a different way. What is the, other than somebody wants this on a schedule, and I don't care who, it's been scheduled. What will be disrupted if this is put off for another 3 weeks or so to answer a question. Questions on ordinances come up all the time. You know,
Right.
you're not going to get all your questions at one time. People go out in the community, they talk, they listen. Some business owners were not at the hearing that was held. They didn't review it until maybe just lately. I think that's the process of doing this kind of work. So you seem to be a little bothered by the fact that there's a disruption in the timetable. When I look at it and say, if somebody has a question, why not answer it? Unless you can give me a reason for absolutely why we have to have the public meeting on the 10th.
This was set by the planning commission. They recommended approval and it to come before city council. If in fact, you do in fact want to change this, you can. The only point that I'm making is that we will continually to get questions on our zoning ordinance. And my only statement would be is that we don't want to keep halting adoption of a new zoning ordinance because of a question that may come in. The point that I was trying to make is any change can still be made to the zoning ordinance. We don't necessarily have to stop the whole adoption of the rest of the ordinance because one question may come in regarding that flag lot or may come in regarding something else. I'm not bothered regarding moving forward. It was just that we'd set this process and this was discussed at the planning commission and they gave this particular date. So that's why I'm just following their direction from the last meeting. I didn't set the dates.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
One of the bad things about prolonging this is the good things that are in the ordinance are not going to be able to be implemented. So it isn't something that can't be addressed, the flag thing and all that down the road, but it gets the ball rolling for the entire breadth of the rest of the document. Will end up being able to be up and running, and we'll be able to enjoy the fact of what the new items that are put in the new document will be active. You know, and if they've got an argument that they could make that is cogent about the flag thing and the rear loading, that could end up being addressed even after this is all approved. So.
Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
Yeah, the questions that have been raised were discussed for those who didn't attend the planning commission meeting. Those problems and questions were raised at the planning meeting. Statements from business owners who were not able to attend were read at the meeting as part of that. And I agree wholeheartedly with Councilmember Kivel. And as such, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to approve Monday, May 10th, 2021 for the public hearing on the new zoning ordinance and map and move the process along. And as City Manager Zelnick said, obviously, you know, things can be discussed further down the road, but this inhibits the ability to implement everything else in that document for the sake of one particular area. So I so make the motion.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
I'd like to second it, but I'd like to also clarify that it was actually the Zoning Board of Appeals is where this had risen, not the.
Actually, Councilmember Kivel, this subject was discussed in both of those meetings. Okay, it was brought back up in the planning commission meeting and it was brought up in the ZBA as you indicated. So both meetings had this topic discussed and now it's coming up and being brought into the city council again. So that's why I think we need to move forward on it and get the process rolling.
City Attorney Hamame, please.
City Council Member Kennedy, I just want to make sure that your motion was to move forward the zoning ordinance and the map.
Did I not say the map? My apologies. To approve the Monday, May 10th, 2021 for the public hearing on the new zoning ordinance and map.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Councilmember Kivel, you second that motion?
That's correct.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Kivel. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Kennedy,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
No.
Dilg,
Yes.
Walton,
No.
Kibble,
Yes.
Pelchat.
Yes,
Thank you.
motion passes.
I wanted to follow up that I will be talking with the planning consultant regarding that and getting that information regarding the review for that, for the flag lots as well as the loading zone, so that can be discussed when this is coming before for first reading for city council.
I would appreciate that because this is obviously going to come up. Councilmember Kill, did you have something?
Yeah, actually, I think that one of the other contingencies that was a problem was the idea that it isn't accessing on a public right of way. So directly.
All right, well, with that, we're going to move on to new business number 3 this evening. Intergovernmental agreement.
City of South Lyon Townships and South Lyon Schools explored the opportunity to work together a few years ago to put together a plan to provide sidewalks and crosswalks in the association with the Safe Routes to School grant near Pontiac Trail in Marjorie Ann. The civil engineering design work was completed and bids were received. A couple of the participants in the plan pulled out after the bids were received and the project was never completed. After having numerous conversations with township officials, we've again initiated a much smaller project to install just the sidewalks and crosswalks at Marjorie Ann and Pontiac Trail. Because bids were taken in 2017, we are proposing to work on this project with the township engineer to create a new set of bid documents and adopt an interlocal agreement between the city of South Lyon and Lyon Township to complete the project. We originally budgeted $93,000 in the 2020-2021 budget, which was intended to be used for the city's portion of the whole project. This year, we will only budget $35,000 to pay for our portion of the scaled down project. Please note that the project is now limited to just the sidewalks and crosswalks at Pontiac Trail and Marjorie Ann and is taken on by the city and the township. I've included the interlocal agreement between the city of South Lyon and Lyon Township with exhibits. This information was prepared in conjunction with our city attorney and the township attorney, which do work in fact for the same firm. The possible course of action is to approve or not approve the interlocal agreement between the city of South Lyon and Lyon Township to complete the sidewalk and crosswalks at Pontiac Trail and Marjorie Ann. Document is attached and myself and the city attorney would be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the agreement.
Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
Paul, I really applaud your efforts on getting the ball rolling on this. It's a shame it wasn't completed earlier. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. Not only here for this crosswalk, but as we've discussed, putting in the sidewalks that are missing throughout the city, and in some cases that crosses parts of Lyon Township and then crosses a city lot. And eventually, the more we can work together, the more walkable the city will be, and the better it'll be for all the residents of the community, whether they live in Lyon Township, Green Oak, or the city of South Lyon. So again, I appreciate your efforts on getting the ball rolling on this. And I'd like to make the motion to approve the interlocal agreement between the city of South Lyon and Lyon Township to complete the sidewalk and crosswalks at Pontiac Trail and Marjorie Ann.
I'll support.
Is that you, Councilmember Kivel?
Yes, Thompson.
Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Paul, I'd also like to thank you for your hard work on this. I think you've got the price down to a level that is a lot more palatable than the one prior to that. Additionally, it's not just a crosswalk to be used by for schooling or whatever. The real beneficiary, of course, of this clearly, and people, I've already talked to people about this, is going to be the Methodist Church in St. Joe's. A lot of individuals that are back there in that subdivision off of Marjorie do attend both of those churches, and this crosswalk is going to help significantly. So thank you for that. They're part of the community. They donate to the community. They all provide services that benefit those in our community. They're just much part of this community than anybody else. So, so thank you, Paul, for providing this. This is definitely an agreement I can vote for.
I'll piggyback off that. I've spoke to several of you about this. Anytime the city and the township can come together and better both of our communities, especially on something as important as the public health and safety of the residents and school kids. I work in that area daily. And when the weather gets nice, we're all over there walking around and going over to Kings Plaza. And so this is a definite need. And I'm just very thankful for everyone's effort at the township and our behalf on the staff of the city, looking like getting this done. So thank you. So I have a motion from Councilmember Kennedy, seconded by Councilmember Kibble. Is there any further discussion on this? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Kibble,
Yes.
Richards,
yes,
Belchat.
Yes,
Thank you.
motion passes. We'll move on to the budget this evening. We kind of covered that earlier. Did anyone think of something since the last one that was on here? Okay, we're going to blow through that. And we are back on to public comment, our second public comment. City Clerk Deaton, is Dana Johnston still in the meeting, and has she been able to handle her technology issues?
No, it looks like she left the meeting.
Mr. Mayor, she said she couldn't figure out the issue, so she left the meeting.
I will reach out to Ms. Johnston this week. So
We do
I'm
have-
sorry. I'm sorry that we couldn't get that to work out. I am. Do we have anyone else here for public comment here in the second round?
We do. We have Ryan Lear.
Okay.
Hey, Counselor, you can hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Lair.
Okay, just to, because I didn't want to run out of time on the last one. I wanted to thank the South Lyon Police Department for their role in my accident. The gentleman that hit me did not care about my well-being, didn't ask me if I was okay, was not concerned if I was hurt. Matter of fact, he was very angry that I was wasting his precious time. And unfortunately, that's a shame. But where I wanted to let the city council know and the police department that while I was on the phone with 911, the operator must have heard how irate he was, because he accused me of calling 911 because the police were going to come and handcuff him, beat him and spit him and throw to the ground and beat him right there in front of the crosswalk. And my only comment was to that was, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but that's not how we operate in this city. And that was my comment. And that was the only comment that I made in reference to the police department. So I did want Chief Sobick to understand that I did back up his officers, that that's not how we operate in the city. And nor would I ever condone any action against any citizen in that regard. He also, I want to thank Officer John Tominick, Officer Walton, and Sergeant Baker for their response. I believe that the 911 operator, and I'm just assuming that she overheard the conversation with this gentleman, and they all responded code 4 with lights and sirens, which they never, ever do to that type of a situation. And I want to applaud them for their immediate assistance to a potential problem that was de-escalated because of the 3 officers' actions. However, the gentleman must have said something to Sergeant Baker, which I did not hear what the gentleman said, but I did hear Sergeant Baker's response was, I hope you don't feel that about our own police department, because we try very best to do what's right. So I don't know what was said, but kudos to Sergeant Baker for standing up for our police department and protecting the integrity and the honor that each one of these officers in that department serve so wonderfully and care about every citizen that they come in contact with. And that's the way it's been since I've been here for 21 years. And that's the way I figure it'll always remain. So I want to just say again to the South Lyon Police Department, HVA, and the South Lyon Fire Department, we have excellent first responders, and I don't think that can ever not be said enough. We just have excellent first responders. Thank you, Mayor, for me allowing to speak on the second one, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Lair. Do we have anyone else for public comment this evening?
We do not.
Okay. We will close the floor for public comment. We'll move on to the manager's report.
First of all, regarding the crosswalk discussions, hopefully that will be the first of many projects that the city and the township can work together on, whether it's this sidewalk project, a road project, something that'll benefit both of our communities. I think keeping the lines of communication open and discussing where our needs are and what our like needs may be for the whole community. I want to update the Parks and Rec Commission at the first meeting in May. Will be coming before council and discussing the plan for McCaddy Park, including the master plan that does encompass the Veterans Memorial as well as Historical Village. And they'll also be coming before for the purchase of the handicap accessible equipment that's going to be going in at McCaddy Park. I want to update you regarding the local road improvement program. We did get another notification that they are going to be continuing that program for the upcoming year. And because those dollars are strictly used for the property immediately adjacent to the downtown and used for the downtown, we will use those dollars again for the Liberty Street and for the final improvements on that particular street. I've included in your packet tonight the community event calendar. We feel that it's important to move forward and start to circulate and print our community event calendar to try to move forward and try to bring the city of South Lyon back to some sort of normalcy in relationship to COVID. If there are items that are associated with our needs to perhaps slow down, or we have problems associated with increased cases or something else, we always can make a judgment call before an event takes place and hold off. But the city and DDA are working together to try to create an event calendar again and bringing back the public to the community and the partnership and the excitement that's been happening within the past. And that's all I have for tonight. If I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Councilmember Dill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one thing on the, I know that we put money in the budget to do the crosswalk in front of the hotel, but as you know, I have always been concerned about the one in the movie theater where that Mr. Lair was talking about earlier. And if there's something we can do to either get something there or at least put up some, something more than just the yellow barrier or something. I really get concerned that we'll have more incidents like that there. So it's just a suggestion. I want to say it worries me when cars are parked there and people step out. You can sometimes, people don't see them. So that's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Dill. Councilmember Kibble.
I had a couple of questions. I saw Boss Engineering was doing some surveying over at Wells in Detroit. Do you have a sense of what that's all about?
No, I don't. I'm not sure what that could be.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there's three other things I'd like to get a better understanding of. Langen's property down at Dixboro and 10 Mile. The sidewalks that didn't end up being installed, that is pretty much part and parcel of any development that takes place in South Lyon. They have an obligation to provide that sidewalk. Have you found out why that hadn't happened?
Yes, I had Kelly bring that back before the Planning Commission for an interpretation because I had done some research and found out back in 2018, the South Lyon City Council approved the conditional rezoning. And part of that conditional rezoning was to not do the sidewalk on Lake Street, but was to place sidewalk on Dixboro Road all the way down to the trail that comes out just north of the Water and Sewer Department. So that was part of that agreement, was that they were going to install that sidewalk as part of the project and not install the one on Lake Street, which basically leads to just the wetlands in front of the property.
Okay, so is there a timeline?
They have to deposit or create an escrow, and that has to be done prior to them granting of a C of O. Or if there's a project that we see that if they're going to continue to move forward with paving of Dixboro Road, we can hold off that money, or we could get it done in advance of that particular project. That'll be a decision that we'll make as this project comes forward and before the final C of O is actually granted.
Okay, 318 Liberty. That there's a home over there that had an addition that is essentially the size of the original home. And it, in light of the fact that we've really kind of thrown down on the idea of impervious soil coverage, that seems awfully difficult to see that place being compliant.
That's because that home is actually part of the parsonage, and it's actually not just a residence. That went through special land use as well as site plan approval through Planning Commission. So that was enlarged based upon the new use, the additional uses that are going to be done there on that particular site for the congregation.
So that isn't going to be a home, it'll simply be a
That is
building?
not, it's going to be a building that's going to be used for, I believe, preschool or other schooling associated with the church and their particular uses.
Has that property been rezoned then?
No, it is not. It's all one parcel. The church and that former resident that used to be just occupied as a residence is all one parcel. So that is all part of one site plan and one special land use. It is still zoned as residential within that neighborhood. They did not need to necessarily change the zoning because the congregation or a church is an allowable use within the residential zoning district.
So the prior owner sold it to the church? Because that was a private residence before.
It could have been. I really don't know the ownership or what was there prior, who actually owned it. So I don't really know.
Oh, well, that's good. That makes perfect sense then. I understand that. And thirdly, the 316, I was hoping that we would end up having a better understanding of what the agreement for virtually anyone that is the grantee of being able to use that site for a new home. I think council should have an understanding of what that agreement says, so.
And what I can do is I can provide city council with a copy of the blank agreement. I would have hoped by this particular date, we would have been coming before city council with written up agreement between the group that was looking at building on that particular site and the city of South Lyon to have that building completed. I've had a lack of communication from the applicant on that property for over a month now, and I've left messages as well as emails also with them, and I'm trying to make contact with them because I want to continue to move this process along. But what I can do is the agreement that the city attorney and I prepared based upon a completion of a home for a specific dollar amount, based upon the design that is compatible with the neighborhood in association with when the property gets turned over and all the timelines, I can provide city council with a copy of that agreement that you can review. I just hope that it was going to be filled in by now, and that's what the process would have been for reviewing it. So it's going to basically be a lot of blank spaces on there, but I'd be happy to provide that to everyone.
I think that that's actually important. I mean, as the people that are the ones that with the final say, I think we should have a better understanding of what we're making agreements for.
Right. Well, and I usually bring agreements before city council when we are prepared to actually have them come before city council. And I had discussed this at prior meetings about what your intentions were, and you discussed with me what you wanted to ensure that was within the agreement. We put those all items in there. We had just hoped that it would have been already before city council by now, and you would have ample time to review that with all the particulars within the agreement. But I can provide you all of city council with a blank document so you can start to review it now, and you can ask any questions before that does in fact move forward.
Well, I can't imagine that the blanks are going to be the things that are really driving the important aspect of the agreement. So, okay. One last thing, a neighbor of mine had asked, does the city check homes for lead water pipe entrances for their
Cities-
service?
We check when we are either performing some sort of maintenance within the house, or we are changing out meters within the house, or we are reviewing records. We are determining if there are any lead fittings or anything that are inside those houses. That's part of what the state of Michigan initiated several years ago, that we have to inspect all homes within the city of South Lyon, whether it's review of records, whether it's actually being on site and checking those things out. So that's a continual process that we have to try to ensure that there is no lead, that is associated with our particular portion of what comes into a person's house. We may not know, though, if there's lead on the opposite side of the meter that were people actually installed from going from our meters to their particular house, because that is property actually of the homeowner or the residence or the business. But I can ensure that we are reviewing that on a constant basis.
In the event that someone were to call DPW, would they have some advice for them to, how they could determine whether or not that was a lead service?
I think they can contact us, and then we could potentially go out there if they definitely have concerns of that, or we can notify them and let them know that there are or that there aren't on their particular property, hopefully with some great deal of certainty.
That sounds great. I mean, especially in the downtown area here seems the most viable for having a lead service, just due to the age, but nonetheless, I'll pass that information along. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate all your answers.
Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Paul, I also wanted to ask some questions about 316. I've had some homeowners in the downtown area give me a phone call, and I'd like to get back with them. You said that it's been over a month that you have had contact with the individuals.
Right.
Did you enter into a letter of commitment or a binding letter to grant them the exclusive ability to build, or?
No, we have not.
Okay, so the city at some point can say, because you have not contacted us further, we are reopening the bid and looking at potential applicants. You can do that, correct?
That's exactly what we would do. There are a lot of uncertain times, a lot of things that are transpiring, whether we don't know if there's any sort of emergency or some health conditions or whatever it may be. We're trying to be, understanding as possible, but it does come to a certain point that we have to make a final decision on this. And the next one is, in fact, sending a letter regarding the commitment and finding out if they are, and if they're not, then we'll move forward and decide what the next course of action will be.
Well, the thing that I find strange about this, and I explained this to the homeowners, is what I find strange about this is that interest rates are pretty good right now, but that story is going to change very quickly. And if I were going to build a house, now would be the time that I would be getting my financial commitment and getting my finances locked in with fixed rates, because that is going to change. So a savvy homeowner, I would think, would be jumping at wanting to build and get this project moving. I mean, I get it. Maybe they're having a tough time lining up suppliers. The cost of building supplies has increased dramatically. A couple of my builder clients are having a hard time even getting materials to build. So maybe that's what is stopping it. I don't know. But I think the city needs to find out what the log jam is on this. If it's a vendor issue, well, then I guess I have a little bit more understanding for the delay. But if that's not the issue this individual's having, and they're just kind of dragging their feet, then maybe it's time to make a different decision. I'm just throwing that out there. That's all.
And I agree with you. And that's why we're trying to find out what those issues are, if there are any, or what had actually transpired.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything for City Manager Zelnick tonight? All right, thank you for that update, Paul. We'll move on to council comments this evening, and let's start with Councilmember Dill.
All right, you caught me off guard.
I'm sorry. I can go
No,
back
no,
to-
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I only have one thing. I just had to look it up. I had to call it up. I just wanted to remind people that Blessings in a Backpack, which is a great organization that helps kids on the weekends with food and during the summer, they are having their golf tournament on June 5th, and they have opened up registration. They need registration, people to register to golf and to be sponsors also. And I hope that people take them up on this. It's a really wonderful organization, and this is their biggest fundraiser. So if you are interested, you can just go on Facebook at BIAB South Lyon, or that is their same, that's their email address also, BIAB. So that's Blessings in a Backpack, South Lyon at gmail.com. And that's all I have. Thank you.
That's great, Councilmember Dill. Great organization. Thank you for that reminder. Councilmember Walton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really just have a brief one too. I want to give shout out to Officer Baker for speaking with a young girl in our community. She wants to be an officer, so Officer Baker went over, met with her, gave her a little bit of advice, and I just love the girl power. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Councilmember Walton.
Mr. Mayor, just
Yes.
an FYI to throw something in there real quick.
Yes.
We got contacted by Hometown Life, and they want to actually try and do a story on that little thing. So it's going to get some more traction. So anything that can draw positive attention to the city and our officers, we're going to do that. So trying to make arrangements for that to happen. So thank you, Councilwoman Walton, for that comment.
Thank you, Chief, for that added tidbit as well. That's great. That is great. Councilmember Richards.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got several little things I want to go over real fast. I'm going to combine number 1 and 2 into one statement. There's a lot of little things that I work on behind the scenes where there's questions and I want to try to get an answer so I don't have to bring anything up at a council meeting. And I want to thank the office staff in City Hall and for putting up with me sometimes. And it's been a rough week on all of them, 2 weeks on them. And I've contacted all the departments on something that's come up over the last 2 weeks. And I've gotten great cooperation, consideration, and comments regarding positive things that are going to go on in the future, or maybe going on in the future. And with that, I want to move to item number 3. The cleanup operation, as we've all discussed, went very smooth. The role that I play because of my limited ability in some respects is I scout out areas that are targets for the cleanup before the event, okay, and report back to Larry what areas are the worst and what areas are not worth working on. Either they're too dangerous or they're perfectly clean, as was the case with Water's Edge Apartments, which was amazing. Anyway, I've done this with the help of Mr. Ryan Lair, who's been very helpful all the way through. And also, I'm discussed with some of the other department heads this scope of the problems we're going to be facing in the future with regard to McCaddy, or with regard to Yerkes and Sayer Drain. And without going into anything, I think there's going to be some more discussion about this, and we're going to hear some more about this later, and I hope to bring it to council at a later time. Also, at this time, I want to mention that, of course, Larry's role in the whole thing, he's a chief organizer of the whole thing, but Larry had a great help from a gentleman that I got the permission to mention his name in the council meeting. That's Mr. Matt Bell, superintendent of maintenance in the tube mill. He secured the dumpster for us, the GFL dumpster. We never had that one before. I worked with the driver of that dumpster that showed up for the event, and he was a great guy. The bags, he went and got more bags, and he went and got more gloves for the participants. And he was very helpful with everything that we did. And he wasn't able to stay around for the pizza, but Mr. Matt Bell it couldn't have gone as smoothly as it did without the assistance and the inspiration and insight of Mr. Matt Bell. And number 5, I want to thank People's Express lately for coming to my rescue when I've been caught out of town, and I didn't realize, what am I going to do now? You know, I mean, nobody, my ride's isn't scheduled for another 2 hours. I called People's Express and they came and got me. That was a wonderful and they've lowered their prices on some things. Whereas it was $8 a trip one way, it's now back down to $2 for some things, especially Providence. And on the last item, on May 2nd, the Methodist Church is going to be sending a team of volunteers to help with the Historical Society in the cleanup of the grounds and inside the museum and Freight House. And to help out our society, because we don't have a lot of people, for a possible opening later on in the spring here coming up, and participation with the children and weddings, and hopefully we get the concerts back. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's coming up on May 2nd, and look forward to participation in everything we can do. Thank you very much, and that's it for tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Richards. Councilmember Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, it's going to be a busy weekend coming up. We have the citywide garage sale on Thursday through Sunday. Saturday, the farmers market in downtown South Lyon will open for the season. Also on Saturday, the Salem South Lyon District Library is going to host a community-wide shredding event from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the library parking lot. And on Thursday, April 29th, there will be an Arbor Day celebration at Volunteer Park. The ceremony will take place at 1 p.m. So come celebrate South Lyon's recognition as a tree city from the Arbor Day Foundation. And finally, the South Lyon Center for Active Adults will be holding a vaccination clinic on Monday, May 3rd and Thursday, May 6th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be held at the Senior Center, which is located at the South Lyon High School. They'll be administering the Moderna vaccine. So if you're interested, you can contact the center at 248-573-8175 for further information and to sign up for an appointment. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. For those of you that want to get out to that shredding event, that's usually a pretty big deal. You might want to get out there early. So some great reminders there. Thank you. Councilmember Kibble.
I don't know how many people have been paying attention, but the RCA building has the new accordion type windows that are going into the bar upstairs and on the facade of the first floor as well. So they're making strides. I'm really excited about this whole thing. So I look forward to their next improvements. And I just wanted to say thanks to the chief and my wife and Judy Keeling and Phil Wiper. We were a crew going from the bridge at Pontiac Trail out to the cemetery. Chris was out there. He had done everything except for put a snorkel and mask on to be able to get stuff out of the water. We were pretty much just his Sherpas carrying everything away from the creek. So it really was a great event. There was some real progress made, and it's kind of remarkable when you see debris taken out of the flow. All of a sudden it really starts to take off. And so all that stuff really does make a difference. I'm grateful for everybody that had spent the time for the last 17 years putting this event on. Typically I had always been on the city's cleanup stuff and putting mulch in all the places that we had taken care of. So I didn't participate in this, and it was really fun to get over there and do that. And we had good weather. Mr. Wiper was himself, and he's always quite a character. So that added a little spark to the whole thing. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Kill. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank the two individuals that assisted me on the week of April 12th. continuing to work on the Yerkes Drain down around the 9 Mile area. These individuals did not want their names mentioned. I'm not quite sure why, but they just came and did community service, and I just at least wanted to let everybody know that other individuals were involved in the cleanup. We had some conflicts, could not join everybody on the 18th. So we started early during the week of the 12th. We didn't get everything done, but I'm hoping to get another group, and hopefully we'll finish the project by Memorial Weekend. Next, I am so excited about this weekend. I can hardly wait. I am a huge estate sale, yard sale, garage sale kind of person. So everybody, tonight, between tonight and Thursday, clean out your closets, clean out the basement, clean out your kitchen cabinets, and get ready. And I think this is a great opportunity for people to visit and talk and chat and just enjoy South Lyon. This is such a great event. Everybody loves it. Also, as we know, the farmers market is starting on May 1st. So I'm anxious to see what survived the hard frost that we had last week. So hopefully there'll be plenty of plants there, and not much produce yet this early in the spring. But there should be some incredible finds at the farmers market. Ladies' night, everybody, come on, ladies, get in town and join everybody for ladies' night. Right, people are getting vaccinated. We all know the rules. Get out and enjoy yourself. And, it's time to move on. It really, really is. These businesses have been trying to hang on for over a year now. Give them an opportunity to make some sales and to reacquaint with some of the really, really good customers. Tomorrow, it is supposed to be close to 80, so get outside tomorrow until November. That's the game plan. We stay outside. So this year, once again, plant something, plant a vegetable garden, plant your flower garden, plant something, get outside this year. Start tomorrow. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in May.
Thank you, Councilmember Kurtzwell. I have a few things this evening, a couple of things I forgot to mention last week, or 2 weeks ago, so forgive me. I had quite the thrill a couple weeks ago at the end of the week. 99.5 WYCD reached out to me, and South Lyon, the city of South Lyon, was their hometown of the week. So I got to join their morning show briefly, and several folks in town got to hear it. I did not, unfortunately. And I also I must not have made that good of an impression because I was definitely shooting for one of their jobs. I'm all about the morning show. Even at a country station, I'm fine with it. So no, that was a thrill, and I had a great time with those guys. So hopefully some of you guys caught it. I also got to do one of my favorite things since becoming the mayor. I really love to go and talk to our second graders when they start in on their social studies chapters in the spring. Obviously, we didn't get to do that a lot last year. I did do some virtual stuff, and I was able to go out and see students in person and also visit with our friends that were virtual at Salem, and that was a ton of fun. And as always, the kids had tons of great questions. And so that always makes for a nice way to kind of wrap up the week. So it was nice to see our second graders out at Salem Elementary. And then just some personal news, some city news. I know the chatter of the 2021 election season is starting to pick up here at the end of May, or excuse me, as April winds down. After some discussions with my close family and friends, it is my intention to seek a third term as the mayor here in the city of South Lyon. I love working with this team, and I hope to be a part of it continuing down the road. So that is all I have for us all this evening. If I could get a motion to adjourn. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations. I just wanted to say that. I know there's a lot of people in Hidden Creek that are waiting for the news between Hidden Creek and Clark's crossing down there and across the street at Maple Creek. So I'll get the word out tonight. Good decision. You got a lot of support. Move to adjourn.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
Night.